Hey everybody, we're back here to talk about the Houston Rockets. Alright, Charles, tell me a little bit about this team.
Yeah, so last year they went 56 and 26. Basically, without a point guard in the playoffs last year, they were able to make it to the Western Conference Finals, but they eventually lost to the Warriors, which most of y'all should know.
Big news for them with the key additions. They got Ty Lawson this offseason, as well as they got a couple nice other pickups like Sam Decker out of the draft, Montrezl Harrell, who's a really good energy player, and a little under the radar signing was Marcus Thornton for them. As far as losses, they let go Joey Dorsey, lost Josh Smith to the Clippers, traded Kostas Papanikolaou and Nick Johnson for the Ty Lawson, and also lost Pablo Prigioni to the Clippers.
Yeah, I think the biggest acquisition for the Rockets is definitely the Ty Lawson trade. For them, it's definitely an upgrade over Pat Beverly or even Jason Terry, who was their starting point guard last season in the playoffs, just to see how he meshes with the team and if he can recover from or not be a distraction with all the alcohol and DUI issues he had in Denver in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and so let's take a quick look then at their starting lineup. They have now that playmaker in Ty Lawson, but I had to go against the curve on this one. I think point guard starting for them should be Pat Beverly. Just because Ty Lawson's extremely ball dominant, and that's what makes him so effective. I don't think playing him with Harden in the starting lineup is essentially the best thing for this ball club. Also, you have to think about defensive deficiencies. Ty Lawson's never been a plus defender. He's undersized. And Harden, we've all noted his defensive lapses. So I think you really kind of have to put Beverly out there with the starting unit and then bring Harden in with the secondary in order to kind of capitalize on the weaker units of the other squads. So then shooting guard, still Harden. Small forward, Ariza. Power forward, Terrence Jones. I know there's a little bit of battle there between Jones and Matajunas, but I'm pretty sure Jones is still going to hold on the spot after he came on so strong at the end of last year. And then obviously their center, Dwight Howard, still.
Right. And maybe, perhaps as the season goes on, we could see Lawson start, but who knows? We'll take it from whatever you say.
Yeah. Okay, so stat for this team. I went very basic with this one. I have just turnovers. They were one of the worst squads last year. Turnovers. Harden alone contributed 3 to 4. Dwight Howard was contributing 3. You have to have somebody there who's not going to turn the ball over so much. Lawson hasn't really been the best with that throughout his career, but hopefully over this offseason they worked on that with every player and they can cut those down.
For me, my stat was free throws by James Harden. So he took 824 free throws last year, which is an average of 10.2 free throws per game. And by now, everybody knows how the Rockets play or how James Harden plays. Dribble, penetrate, flop, or throw his arms up in the air, try to get in a free throw or kick it out. That's going to be expected by the Rockets. So James Harden is definitely the key player with this team, and him getting free throws is definitely key to their game, and I'm not really sure what they'll do without Harden. Him penetrating into the paint a lot could risk him for injury, but so far he's been relatively healthy.
Exactly. So for this season, Rockets, obviously they pushed their way into that Western Conference final after that miraculous comeback against the Clippers. They won a game from Golden State. That was all they could muster. Like you said before, that was due to the fact that they had 2 low-key veterans as their point guard rotation at that point. So with this acquisition of Ty Lawson, I think they have a great shot of challenging the finals again. If they stay healthy, there's no stopping them. Obviously, injuries that derailed them so often between Terrence Jones, Matajunas had the back problem, Howard was out for a huge portion of the season, Beverly went down. Really the only player to stay consistently healthy was Harden and also Ariza, but I think if you have that entire lineup out there consistently, this team goes much farther.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about the Matajunas-Jones battle? I'm kind of curious to see which one works, because Jones missed a lot of time last year, and Matajunas was pretty decent off the bench.
I really think he should be filling that bench spot still. You know, he's not really a quality defender. He's not a bad one, but he's more of that like spread four where Terrence Jones provides that spacing with a somewhat decent three-point shot. Montezumas is only a little bit better. I think it's like 31% as to like 30%. It's very close. But Jones is more of that interior presence. You know, he can block shots like crazy, rebounds. Montezumas is more soft, I feel. Not in a bad way trying to insult him, just more he's a Nowitzki type.
He's the typical soft Euro, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, about. No, he reminds me more of like a bigger, bulkier Dirk. You know, he's not really a pounder. He's not going to go inside.
I'd say like a middle-class man's Vladimir Radmanovich, but that's just me.
Yeah, well...
So, when I think about the Rockets this year, I think they got a lot better, and nobody really noticed that. We kind of didn't get into mentioning the drafting of Sam Dekker and possibly Montrezl Harrell. I mean, it's kind of a lazy comparison, but Sam Dekker could replace what Chandler Parsons gave, whether it's shooting and being a secondary ball handler. And Harrell, he can rebound, and rebounding and energy is something that translates well from college into the pro game. So we could see them in the Western Conference Finals again this year. And like you were saying, that really depends on the injuries and how well this team fits. Lawson is kind of an interesting piece they acquired this year. He really thrives on penetrating and getting mid-range shots. He's not really much of a three-point shooter, which is very similar to Harden, but he does it in kind of different ways. So that'll be interesting to see, like we were saying before, if he starts or if he comes off the bench and if he is a distraction. And there's always Dwight Howard, who will probably miss a couple of games, but he'll be very solid for them. Just seeing how this team fits together. Maybe Trevor Ariza is also a really important player for this team as well. Like last year, he was another low-key signing by Daryl Morey, but he really filled in that role as a corner shooter pretty well and a defender too.
Yeah, if I could just go back, I want to defend my reasoning for Ty Lawson coming off the bench, just really quickly refine it. Way I look at it, this unit had no issues, scoring or beating out other teams through the first quarter or so. But like once they had to start relying on their depth, that's when they started taking issues. There was no one else besides Harden, so deep in the game, Harden still has to dribble. I think there was one possession he had to dribble 24 times, 26 times before he could even shoot the ball. And it's really at those moments, those closeout moments, when you need somebody like Ty Lawson or an additional distributor out there to take the pressure off Harden, not necessarily in the beginning of the game. So I think if you have Ty Lawson coming off that bench, you let Harden do his thing the way he's been for the past 2-3 years, and then when you sub him out, or maybe you can play Ty Lawson with him, obviously. I'm just saying, once you start subbing in, then Ty Lawson comes in, he can start ripping apart reserves and giving Harden that breath.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of agree. I definitely agree with you with Lawson on the bench, but I think the only reason why I'm kind of defending this is because Jason Terry is going to be playing a lot less minutes, and he's really exciting to watch. And seeing him go against Steph Curry and Chris Paul last year was pretty interesting at age 37, 38 now. So yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you throw Beverly out there for starting, then I don't know how much run Terry's really going to be getting.
Yeah. But
we'll see.
Love me some Jet.
So, excitement factor for this team.
So I have them at a 7.0. Like, everybody knows James Harden, everybody knows Dwight Howard, and adding Ty Lawson, he's kind of maybe a middle-tier point guard at this stage in his career, and because of his attitude or drinking issues, but they're going to be an exciting team. The Rockets always have really creative schemes on offense. Their defense is pretty good, but the only thing that really takes away from them is how repetitive the game gets. I was going before how James Harden plays. It's like dribble, penetrate, free throws, or kick out. You're going to be seeing a lot of that, and you might even see a lot of Dwight Howard post-ups where Howard just backs in, uses his ass to back into a post defender, and then he shoots a hook shot. I mean, you'll get a lot of that this season, but they'll be winning a lot of games, and when they play up-tempo, they're definitely a really fun team to watch.
Yeah. I was a little more lenient. I gave them an 8.5 honestly, redemption stories kind of just strike me in the heart, I feel, and Ty Lawson's should be interesting. I was a big fan of Lawson 2 years ago for a little bit, so I don't know, I'm looking forward to see him maybe get back on the right track. Watching Harden shoot free throws, while it isn't fun, when he gets up to like infinity, but it's still kind of cool to see him when he is on his game with the Euro step. Obviously, he's going to have the outings where he makes 0 for 10 field goals, but then somehow gets 26 points just because he went to the line so much. But for the other games, when he's actually hitting his shots, I think he brings enough excitement to it. So where do you see this team going for this year?
Yeah, I see them maybe repeating the record as it was last year, 56-26. They're definitely a contender this year. They made some really interesting steps to get better. Credits to Daryl Morey for that. But it's the West, and anything can happen. Last year was Spurs and Clippers in the first round. So depending on the playoff matchups, Houston can go either way. But I expect them to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I'm similar. My reasoning for it was just they improved quite a bit, but at the same time, so did the rest of the West, so I don't think I could justify giving them an increase in wins. Also, I mean, just a real quick thing before we go on to social media with this team, we didn't even discuss the reserve for James Harden is probably, and it's sad to say it, the best quality right now, as it has been since he's gotten to Houston. Marcus Thornton, he's not a starter caliber, definitely, but I don't mind relying on him for, a bridge of 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, he's a guy that gets hot really quickly, but he's almost like a Jamal Crawford, Nick Young type player, where he can make a lot of shots in a short amount of time, and then he misses 5 in a row.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's definitely good, and maybe we could see some more KJ McDaniels. When he was traded last season to Houston after demanding out of Philly, he really didn't get much burn, but hopefully this year he gets a little bit more playing time, because he's a really exciting, athletic player that could fit well with the rest of the team.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the rest of their young guys too, with Decker and Harrell. So they're also important to the success of this team.
Yeah, here's hoping Mikal plays them a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so social media.
Of course, there's always that thing that happened in the playoffs last year where the Houston Rockets media guy posted the picture of the gun and the horse. Don't worry, it'll all be all over soon now. Yeah. I mean, his job was in social media and he fucked it up. Like, how badly do you... Come on, man.
There's been other things. Obviously, I don't know if you've kept up. There was an MLB. Someone recently tweeted, a politician tweeted, congratulations, and then the team lost, so he had to take it off, and everyone just laughed at him. But that wasn't even close to the same scale. He got publicly humiliated for that, but that wasn't even close to the same magnitude as he posted the horse and the gun. That was so disrespectful. The conduct that they must be having in that whole organization. I don't know. That was awful. He got fired right away.
Yeah, he got fired. It's well deserved. I mean, it's a little bit too far, a little bit too edgy for the NBA, where maybe most of your followers are little kids.
Yeah.
It's just the power of emojis.
Did he land a job with Sacramento or Philly right after though?
I guess the Sacramento and Philly are trying to tank their social media too then.
No, I think Sacramento thinks it's actually helping social media in some way.
And another thing from this offseason, James Harden and Khloe Kardashian. How do you feel about that?
I don't know how to feel about it, especially right now, just because of Lamar Odom and everything that's going on with him. I feel bad making jokes about Khloe Kardashian just because it affects Lamar Odom some way. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about, because in my mind I've always pictured Khloe Kardashian as this huge beastie thing, and James Harden, even though he's 5 inches bigger than me, just when I watch him on TV or at games, he looks so small. So
He's kind of flimsy with all the arm waving. And,
yeah, so it's just it's an odd thought in my mind.
yeah, I mean, Harden's nailing threes on and off the court, so more power to him.
Oh my god. Yeah, I hope that's not a distraction. You know, we talked about Ty Lawson and the DUIs and all of his issues now, but what if the Kardashian drama just affects Harden?
Oh my god, I mean, can't wait for Keeping Up with the Kardashians with James Harden and Kanye West. I mean, some pretty exciting stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, so you have anything else to say about this team?
Totally forgot Corey Brewer's on this team, but yeah,
oh my
go Corey
god.
Brewer.
You're right. You know, I want Minnesota Corey Brewer back. The one that exploded for 50 points and made me be aware that he was there.
He's there. He's really skinny. He's bald. He can dunk pretty well. He's almost like a broke man's Trevor Ariza.
Honestly, you know what?
He's decent.
Everyone makes fun of LeBron for his hairline. Corey Brewer might have the most fucked up hairline.
I mean, I don't think he has hair at this point. I think he's just embracing the headband and bald head.
Oh man. Wow, he was another super sub. Yeah, that was bad on our part, not acknowledging him in the depth chart. All right, well, anything else? Anything else big that we missed?
I mean, that's about it.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back next time.
Later.